So Mary Brainey's the consultant for the library building project.
Right.
And one of her concerns, and Ken, I'm blanking on his last name, the building inspector. One of their concerns is the library becoming a historical site.
Resource, yeah.
Site. So it doesn't quite matter as much because we, based on what Ben said, we weren't going to be doing this as an individual building.
Right.
Because it didn't make sense.
Right.
If it's part of the district, I don't believe that there should be any problems with the building renovations if it's just a part of the larger district.
Right, because it's, right, because it's no restrictions like a local district.
Right.
But there was, Mary, I guess, pushed back on, not going for the grant, on going for the grant, not going for the grant. She thought we should go for the grant with the MHC.
Yeah, I've been reviewing rough drafts of like space management and all that stuff. I mean, like it's applying for the grant is going to be like a quadruple the square footage kind of thing. Whether we go
Up,
that
out,
way
yeah.
or somewhere, but I mean, like
Combination.
it's just for a population this size, we don't have adequate space in
Yeah.
this structure as it is to offer everything that the
You need
LC
more.
says the town needs.
Yeah.
So we will see where that goes. I don't know precisely where that's going to go yet. I mean,
Yeah.
like we voted not to pursue the grant, but
Right.
I mean, whenever this is all done, it sounds like Mary's going to try to talk us back into it,
Yeah.
or talk y'all back into it. 'Cause
Yeah,
ultimately it's y'all's
I could be
decision.
talked back into it if it made sense.
Mhm.
Well, I said-
If it makes sense, but
Yeah, if it
like
makes sense.
we'll have to really evaluate, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
But as we're doing the district, we've got to keep in mind that there's a chance this building will be under renovation. We can't look at this building as a single entity anymore because of the building project. We can't really use it as I don't believe we can use it as a focal point.
An anchor.
You know how when we were talking about doing the district, we were picking out certain
Sure,
buildings?
yeah.
I don't know that we'll be able to use this one.
Understood.
Nothing's been done yet.
But I'm saying depending on time, because it could, we don't know if it would implicate the grant or anything like that.
Yeah.
This is something to keep in mind as we get closer on both ends, the grant end and us submitting the district.
Okay.
I can't really fathom a building renovation flying here that does not preserve the historical character of the building. So, I mean, like, I don't know if that's
Right,
something I would worry too much about.
right. I mean, we've certainly all seen renovations where you've got the main building that doesn't get changed and then the new could be
Right.
quite
They keep the
modern.
facade the same, but update the interior.
I'm just saying this is something that it's, there could be a clash, there could be no clash. It's just something all parties need to keep in mind as we
Yeah.
move forward with all projects.
Yeah, okay. What's the timing, Justin, again with Mary? Like what's like next phase or step with her?
I don't think we're gonna have anything ready to present at the next trustee meeting, but I would
Okay.
expect the following one.
Okay, so end of September?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Like I said, just because we had you right here, I figured we'd
Good
we'd
idea.
poke you.
I'm gonna go show
So
them.
we'll officially kick our semi 9:10 a.m.
19?
Like I said, I know with the library and the grants, it's one of those, like, if they see that we're trying to put it on the district, the grant might be like, no, 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 no.
Yeah. Right.
Following up on that real quick, something was said that if the grammar school wanted to be torn down, we're looking at a price tag of around $2 million, I think is what I heard.
That's the one that's on behind the post office, right?
Yep, that's a location that was, so in order to do the grant, they also had to scout other locations.
Mm-hmm.
2 locations that were obviously looked at, the grammar school
Yeah.
and the center school / VFW / soccer field area.
Yeah.
Like, so,
I was at the Uxbridge Library to get passes, and they're going for the MHC grant, and I was admiring how much space they had, and I was talking to I don't know if she was a regular librarian or I think she's a children's librarian, and they have the same mandate that we have, that it has to be a library
Oh.
forever, which I thought was interesting. I don't know how common that
Yeah,
was.
Right,
You been upstairs there?
very interesting.
Quickly upstairs, I was mostly downstairs.
So,
I mean, the third floor.
if they do end up looking at a different location for us, what would have to happen is a state laws and all the types of things are gonna have to come into consideration. We'd have to try and get a hold of any, heirs of the Marsh Fairfield, James Fairfield's family and all of that kind of stuff. So it definitely does add a layer to it. Cause like I was telling somebody, a negative / positive of this building is, as of right now, the library is attached, it is completely attached to it. But when it was looking like the library was gonna shut down, it became a positive, because if it shut down, it would be a vacant building on Main Street that could be used as nothing else.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's definitely a complicated
Twist.
twist that in some ways can be positive, but in some ways can really,
Hamper what we want
Yeah.
to do.
so sorry that I kind of jumped down to the library
problem.
stuff, but.
No, no allergies.
Do we have an official start? Isn't that ready? And approve the minutes?
Yes, I believe I sent those via
Yep,
email,
yep.
so, I guess you need a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Old business. Next up's the historical
Yes, so
projects.
the historical district, and we all have a handout where we all.
I really apologize, there's really no way to make it bigger.
That's fine, we can still read it.
So when I was glancing at it yesterday, something we need to, I noticed when we were looking at the styles, so Belding a lot of times had one style, and when Macris turned it onto the, when Macris put it online and they did the cover page, they updated the style.
Okay.
Where you saw a lot of that was, Belding would have a lot of vernacular, and they would change it to Victorian eclectic.
Okay, so I see that, yeah.
Yeah, I think something we should keep in mind is Macris has kind of already called some of these buildings, they've named them. I don't know if we wanna keep the style based on what, you know, the ones that Macris didn't call, that's one thing, but if Macris has actually named it, do we wanna stick with Macris's name? Because
Could you give an example, sorry to cut you off, of one that's Macris name that we might wanna consider, because I see I see, I'm looking at the notes differently.
I put, if there were any that had changed, I put it in.
Oh, in the notes, so we can just
Yeah,
look at this.
so if you look like if you look at you were pink.
Yeah,
I put a little, like, in the notes, like, it's in a blue.
in blue, okay.
Okay, yeah, Greek revival for Macris.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at this one, I
Yeah,
don't
some of the-
modify
and,
King
as you know,
Victoria.
they're not hard and fast rules, you know that. I mean, some of the properties have been changed enough and cosmetically enough that it could be Italianate, it could be Greek revival, it could be early Victorian, it could be stick style.
Yeah,
And sometimes they have, you know, like the building in the corner of Mechanic Street. That's a federal era building, 1814.
yeah,
But like most of these places, once styles changed by like the 1850s, they Italianated the crap out of it to make it look like the
Yeah.
current style.
Well,
Yeah.
so the thing is, we already know that no matter what, we're going to need to have a consultant come in.
Right.
So I don't know if we stick with the Macris,
Yeah.
just because that was already approved by
Right,
the
that
Mass
makes more
Historical
sense.
Commission. And if they come in and they're like, okay, so since 1989, X, Y, and Z changes have been made, and it's now moving to
Right. 'Cause we don't know
this.
how recent the Macris filed descriptions are. Sometimes those are almost 40, 50 years old. So
Yeah,
so
like I said-
Place have changed.
So all of the Macris that's on the Macris system is based on the 1989 Belding report. So like I said, a lot of times Belding would say something like vernacular, and they would take a look at it and they're like, Italianate,
yeah,
eclectic, that, or Victorian eclectic was a big one that that I saw.
yeah,
Then something else that was really interesting, I did not see any capes in Macris.
Huh.
They did not.
I thought some that were capes.
No, I'm saying, but like the
They're
Macris.
cape on the ground, but they're not cape and macros.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like they did not use style cape. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist somewhere, but
Yeah, that's odd.
But not in the
Because
industry.
I would, where there was like, you know, a really vast majority that said vernacular, I'd rather keep that out as much as we can, because it doesn't really tell you much.
Right, because there's a bunch of Gilboa Street, I know I wrote in there, it's a vernacular cape.
yeah.
It's kind of like, it's cape shape, but it's got other hoo-ha going on with it that pushes it into a different mode.
Yeah,
I am a straight up cape. There has been no real changes
what
To
address
my-
is that?
to my house, so let's see
Yeah,
what.
you're a cape.
Will the district allow hobbit holes?
Allow what?
Hobbit holes?
Is that a recognized architectural style, Justin?
Yeah.
You have to have round doors.
That's right. You have to have a grass roof, you know,
Grass roof
the
and round
living
doors.
roof.
In Ireland.
Right.
Okay, so here's. Sorry, stupid notes. Okay, so see mine. This is my house.
Uh-huh,
That's clearly a cape.
Yeah.
yes. And
They
it
called
says
it federal. They called it federal.
Well, it's federal era.
Yeah, I'm just thinking they go by the year, but not the
And
style. Oh,
Belding
that's a twist.
Yeah.
called it vernacular cape.
Yeah,
So that's one of those areas where we're going to
Sure.
get into. Like I said, have they changed their language since the original Macris upload? Like I said, so there's some times, and if I were to go on the Douglas Sesser site, I'm a straight up cape.
Yeah,
So like sometimes we're looking at 3 different styles depending on what resource we're using, which might make it a little bit harder to pinpoint. That might be something that we'll have to discuss with
consultant.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
we've got all the notes here that you added in, so we've got like our 3 styles or whatever listed. Oh.
I said, I just don't know do we give priority of style to Macris, then to Belding, and then to us/assessor site?
I would go Macris,
Yeah.
R/assessor, and then Belding, because Belding leaned on vernacular.
A lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
so is that
So
okay?
maybe
Should
what
we
I-
vote on that?
Maybe what I do is I add 2 more columns for style, and we just put the 3 different styles side by side, and then it can be figured out
Yeah,
when we get closer to
Okay.
actually completing the project.
that works.
That way we're not looking in the notes being like, okay, what is this saying?
Yeah, right, and we'll have, well, we can always look at the assessors for the photos.
Yep.
I wasn't sure. Sometime on the assessors, it instead of a style, it said like multi-con V or
It had
Multi-VF,
like a
yeah,
abbreviation.
yeah,
VF.
and it's like
Conventional
they
or
didn't
something.
put like it wasn't based on the house style. It was like based on what it's used
Occupancy.
as.
Yeah,
Yeah,
occupancy.
so I was
The
like,
guy who's looking at the properties is an expert
yeah,
on historic
right.
house styles.
So they
Right.
just,
The old style.
He's like, how many
The old
people?
they're
style.
like
some
that
of
looks
the
like
time.
multi-van. Okay, because that I was like, I don't know if we we don't need to include that. I'm sure, but
Well,
I put it in the notes section if they had something like that. And then
Yeah.
there was some that I was a little confused. Like the house was built. Okay, one of the ones I had,
You were
They
what
wrote-
color?
I was
Green?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, it just makes it easier for me to look
Yeah,
at.
right. One of the ones that I had done was like, there was a couple of them I put comments on. I don't know if you guys saw those, but one, it's built in 1941, but they write style colonial, and I wanted to know like how should we differentiate, because like obviously it's colonial style,
Yeah.
but it's
Bible.
not like
Well, yeah, is it
colonial time frame wise.
Yeah, I think it
Right.
might be. I think that's what is that what the revival is really used on?
I think so. The
Yeah.
colonial revival style was like early 1900s to about 1940 something.
So if it's 1982, it was built. It was not
But again, so as a realtor, I can tell you so many houses in the new
Yeah.
houses, and they say it's colonial.
right.
It's a 2-story colonial.
It's still,
Right,
yeah,
they
I
It's
mean,
still
got
call
a
it
gable
colonial.
roof, and it's
I
got
know.
a bunch
The
of windows on
houses-
the front.
Right.
I know, the neighborhood
I
I
didn't-
grew up in the 60s, there was a lot of colonials,
Yeah.
but that's revival.
Right.
So
So I
think,
guess I would probably add the word revival.
Okay,
so-
Cause I had a couple and I wasn't sure like
A colonial
what to do with
style is just generally characterized by square or rectangular facade, central entrance, and windows symmetrically placed on either side of the entrance.
Right, usually a
Yeah.
three or five bay front end with gables.
So I think
we don't
this-
necessarily need to do revival, is that what you're thinking?
Well, I'm just saying, I think a lot of them now, because there are so many different styles come up, there's a style, and then I think they might base the age just on the date built, you know,
Yeah.
rather than. And I also don't know, when you're dealing with like the revivals, is it also when a house is like revamped? Like we were talking about the houses that they make look all Italian or Victorian. Are those considered revivals because they took an old style, a different, and they revamped it?
I think they still defer back to the Macris and the build date. There's like five, what's the, Schuster houses right in downtown here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the one, I think on Cummings Court, the left one is a federal era house built in the early 1800s. But it got colonial revitalized in the 1930s when all the other houses were built. And those are all colonial revivals, so to speak.
Yeah,
The, Dave Cave and the one up on the hill,
yeah.
those are all 20s
Okay.
to 30s era.
Colonial revival introduces elements and features not seen in the more plain American colonial style.
It's true, there's usually more detail, columns out front.
So colonial, federal, whatever style it is an X, and I think the revival is when they go off the blueprint a little bit of whatever that X.
There's also, you should look on, I think he still has it up. Excuse me. John Petrolia on Antique Homes Magazine site has a whole style guide. He goes through with images and everything else, just finding them.
Antique.
Antiquehomes.com, I think. Yep.
Yeah, because I did pull up, not John's necessarily, but I did pull up some, just to make sure, like the window styles, things that were not completely clear.
Historic style
style
guide,
guide.
there it is, right in.
Oh,
In the middle
Did
there.
I miss it? Oh,
Right.
yep.
oh nice.
But these are real antiques, not the later ones.
Well, he goes into, Queen Anne, French, that kind of.
Yeah, that is
You don't have a lot of
nice.
Queen Anne in town. We don't have a lot of stick style.
I'll forward that to, I'll put a link and forward that to
Thanks.
everybody. I'll leave that up. So like I said, that when I was just quickly going through things, I found that was gonna probably be one of our bigger issues is the style, because there's so many differing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into a couple that were, like, one of them, on Macris, it said it had been demolished. And on the assessor site, it said it's alternatives building, so
I
according
think-
to the
Really?
assessor, it's the same building, and according to Macris, it was demoed, and it actually looks the same, so I'm not sure if there's like, maybe they renovated it and they
Yeah.
called it demoed, or I'm not really sure. It was,
Can you get me the address on that?
yeah, let me see here in my notes. I put a little star next to it because I was confused by their descriptions.
Is that the Colonial?
It's number
8 Mechanic
6
Street?
North Street.
Okay. Hayward Woollen Company warehouse, garage.
Yeah.
No style commercial.
Yeah. So Macro said it was demolished, and tax assessor says it belongs to alternatives.
Okay.
So
it's
just wanted to see if it's like somebody was mistaken and
So
it's
here's
not
the
demolished.
mattress. It's still listed as 234.
Can you show a picture from that?
Yep. So we've got this.
It's like a garage, yeah.
And then if we go into the document, where are you seeing demolished?
If you
Oh,
scroll
yeah.
down, it said demolished, and I was like, because the tax assessor still has it, so I don't know if they like revamped it and they called it demolished, because it looks the
Right.
same to me when I pulled it up on like Google Maps.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was a little strange. I was like, did they demolish it and they
It's not.
rebuilt itself?
It's not an anchor property in the town. so-
Right.
Yeah, no,
It's a
and
little thing. So
when Belding did it, it was retail space.
And there was another one that was part of Hayward, that, the boiler room one, 26
Okay.
North Street, and that, it did
I-
not seem to match at all, like, it
I
seemed like they
cannot
had
figure
a-
out what that, like, no, I've looked at
Oh.
Macris, I've looked at other things. I don't think that building exists anymore.
Which
I
one?
think when they turned it into,
26 North Street, the boiler room.
Oh, yeah,
Hayward
yeah.
Mill.
I think when they turned it into Hayward Landing, it went missing.
Right, because I looked at like their, like, I tried to compare it to, from Macris to the assessor, and it looked like they were showing a completely different building, and I was totally confused, so I was like, I don't know.
I actually, like, one day I was upstairs working, and Gail actually drove around. Like, she was
Oh,
doing
yeah.
delivery. She took a drive through with this, and
Right, to try to find it. Yeah, because I was like,
I don't think this exists anymore.
Hmm.
Good.
Oh, wait a minute. That's not the, like the
Nope.
little apartment?
That's 22 North Street.
Oh.
Are you talking about the little brick one?
Right,
That,
Yeah,
right.
that's the one
I'm
It
front.
looks- It
Yeah.
looks like that, but it isn't the same building.
Oh.
So I think it is,
Shame.
I have one other place to. I don't know why we didn't think to check this. Oh my God! Really? Sorry, I don't usually use this computer for this. Yeah, no, I think that might be, because when I was trying to number all of the marsh works, that one kept popping up, and I'm like, I don't think it exists anymore.
Right.
Okay, so this is the historic register.
Oh, okay, yeah, because it didn't mention that on.
They said 3 buildings. So in 91, the boiler house was still listing.
Huh.
If you, second paragraph,
Mill number 1.
if I'm going too fast, please let me know. Connected to the main building was a 3-story boiler and engine house.
They don't happen to draw like a sketch of how it was
Yeah.
laid out
I-
among the
I-
other buildings.
I'm trying not to go too fast in case somebody else sees something. Oh, wait. Or are we looking at,
Where's the diagram?
oh, whoops, wrong one, sorry. So that's, would we say that's 2-story?
Yes.
Mhm.
So, the boiler house number 5 was a square 2-story brick structure with attached stack. The roof is flat, but at 2 levels separated by vertical boarded up wall that hides glazed monitor.
boiler burners do tend to explode.
Right? That might explain it.
That's one of the most common things that happens with mills.
Did you see in one of the colleges, they found an observatory that was, they had the someone found they were doing something to the ground and they found this observatory that had been buried at some
Wow.
point in the
Oh my
last 50
goodness.
years or whatever. They had an archaeology department, so they
Oh,
were.
no kidding.
So maybe it got buried.
Wow.
That's what I'm going with.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You don't find that every day.
No.
Okay. So, I think this is alternatives.
Oh, okay, that was the
Right.
one that they debated.
I think
was
this is a
the-
little building.
that we all see on the street.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Probably somewhere in between there was a,
So,
So boiler
there's the
would
boiler
be-
room.
So
Like in the parking lot.
I think this is the wall.
I bet it's a parking lot now.
Would they smoke?
Yeah, so
Yep.
this, yeah, that's a wall. This is apartments here. This is gone. I think they tore
Yeah,
that down.
I think it's parking now, yeah.
Yeah, yep, that's definitely what it looks like. And the dye house looks like, when you're inside, it looks like the building is a little different inside there, but so the dye house and the mill are attached still in all apartments. Okay. That's very handy. Where is that?
That's so it's in the drive with the National Register stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 'cause that one's by itself.
Yeah, based on where it's presenting on the map, I think it's gone.
Yep, I think so too.
Yeah.
That building's already on the National Register.
Well, the killer is, this was done in 91. Hayward Landing opened either 92 or 93. I want to say 92 because when I was in 5th grade, there was a girl who had just moved in
Mm-hmm.
to Hayward Landing, and it was like brand new. She was new to town, like.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I want to say it was probably worked on in 91 and put up and created in 92.
Okay.
I'm not 100%, I'm
Yeah.
just,
Good assessment. Okay, so that was 26.
so the boiler room existed,
Until about 91
Yeah.
or 2.
so 140. And I'm sure that if we really needed to, the town halls got when it was demoed.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know which department would have that.
It would be the building because
Okay.
they would need a permit to demo it.
Yeah.
But it could also be, it could be part of the whole plan,
Yep.
which, okay, so can we just talk that it's interesting that this was basically done while they were planning on doing Hayward Landing?
Yeah.
Was it to try to protect it, or was it for?
They get all the
trying to-
benefits of having it in
Yeah.
a, like, for a commercial building,
Wow.
But like,
having it.
it was approved just almost at the same exact time
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
Hayward Landing,
So if you think about it, they couldn't have made it,
yes.
whatever that is, dozens of apartments without that parking area, so that
Right.
they had to take
So
it.
6/17/91, and like I said, I'm trying to do math here. I believe I started 5th grade in 92. So you're talking just about a year from when
Right.
this was approved to around the opening.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
So I just an interesting, like, this was all going on
Yeah, so you can
As
still
this-
do a demo when you're doing a
at the same time.
historic district or historic building.
Okay, so that's actually one that gets completely taken off the list then.
Updates on current status Form A that we're covering.
Yes, this is Form A. So then, just trying to figure out what the next steps are with the MHC. We've got our property list more or less with a couple.
What did we decide the contributing was 1970 something was our cutoff?
This is the right folder.
Yeah, 1970 was gonna be the cutoff,
Okay.
because that left only about 22 non-contributing.
Right.
So need to go through and just make sure that, that gets, cause I hadn't put any of the contributing, non-contributing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and we also need to look into adding, monuments. Monuments are in
Oh.
here. Monuments and cemeteries. Those are the two
So
things
this,
that are missing.
so this form will, we're gonna add a column for the style.
Two actually. So there's gonna be 3 columns: style Macris, style assessor, style building.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna remove
And buildings,
26.
yeah. Well, part of 26.
Oh,
Because 26 was Hayward Mill and Mill number 1 and boiler room. It had all of them
Oh, oh,
listed,
oh.
so we just have to
okay,
clean that up a little.
okay. And then we have to add monuments and cemeteries.
There's just a few.
Right.
Right.
Quite a few.
And enlist contributing versus not.
And then photos, but we kind of said photos were gonna wait until we knew
Right.
where we were going next.
How are we gonna make this work with a photo? You know, because if it's readable as it is, but then you add a photo. And
Well,
it's-
no, it's a photo number.
Oh.
So like, basically, A Street, we just do all of A and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay. Okay. And then that's a separate like Word document or something.
Yeah. So I'm thinking when it comes to the building type, maybe we poke Ben and see what the best, like,
Okay.
whether it's something we wait for a consultant on or whether he has a recommendation on what we prioritize.
Sure, Ben at the MHC.
And then we can also mention the fact of what's going on with the library. Is it still one of the properties we want to highlight?
Ugh, I would think we definitely want to highlight it.
But the concern is like, let's say the grant does go through.
Mm-hmm.
And we already said that this project could take at least 2 to 3 years. Could we be in the middle of a major
Yeah.
reconstruction, or
Right.
could we be completely moving the building
Yeah.
by the time this is?
Right.
Do we want to put all the time and effort into highlighting it if it's going to become one of
Too
those?
soon to say.
So we've got we know the property list. We all agree after
Yep.
going through it that the list is good.
Yep.
And we've got the map that looks like a ship out of Star Wars.
Right. How many do we end up with? Does anyone remember?
It's over here.
250, is it the first? Oh,
250
oh,
altogether.
plus. You have to add all?
250 altogether.
Okay.
154 are 1,800. Hold on one sec. Let me freeze this. That way, when we go down, there. So 154 are 1800s. 50 are to post World War II or to World War II, and then post World War II are 24.
Nothing,
Pretty
nothing, 1700s?
No,
Oh.
No, it was by
Really?
Charles Street and,
That's
at
surprising.
the very top
I
end.
thought I
The
had
pro-
run into
so
one that was like
what
the same
ended
or
up
something.
happening there.
End up with such a
Oh, we
small
didn't
number,
get further.
It, they
Right
would
there,
have,
right,
and we decided we were,
okay.
we came down to that question of like, where do
Yeah.
we make the,
Yeah, that's fine.
We end up with such a perfect number too, like that never happens, right?
but that was the problem, cause yeah, I think there were some, if we had gone further up here, and there were some if we'd gone further there,
Right.
and if we had gone all the way
Yeah,
up
north.
North Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I think that ended up giving us, that was where we were in the 400 plus properties.
Mhm.
I had one that was kind of strange. It was, let's see, 385 Northeast Main, Daniel Phillips house. It looks like per assessor it's 1750. Macris has it as 1850. So I wasn't sure. I mean, that's like a pretty big
Yeah, that's a big
gap.
jump.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
100-year
you
difference.
found a lot of those, right, where there was like built, like the core was built or the foundation,
Yes.
and then so many
Right.
changes, maybe the whole
So
thing was
that's,
knocked over.
Right.
okay, so when I had talked to the assessor, I had said to him, we've got some that we have some quite large discrepancies. And I explained it to him, and what he said was a lot of times, like, they left a brick or they left something, and people want to say the house is old, so they went with whatever, like that one little wall
Column or something, yeah.
was.
Well, I know my oldest section is like, the assessor says 1800 on my oldest
Right,
section,
right.
and when I've had work done on my house, there's been like beams that look like trees, so. I
wow.
wanna- I wanna say that's probably correct for my oldest section, but
Yeah.
then like 1870s is like the addition, which is like the biggest part of the
Right, the
house, so.
mantle.
Yeah.
And it looks like we split the difference and we did 1860 on it.
Oh.
But it's like.
It's definitely older.
Right. It's got two halves. The old half where I am, there's like, you know, in the basement, it's like, they look like they're, like you took a tree and you.
Sure.
You know.
So,
Took a tree and made it a beam.
per Marsh, the next 385 is the one we're on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next place west of the telephone building is that of Edward and Helen Herbst. It was known for many years as the David Phillips place, the land of which he got from Warrant Hunt about 1850.
Mm-hmm.
So he got the land in 1850. It didn't say building. So that, I bet you, is why Macris has it as 1850. Because based on that one statement,
But it goes back even longer.
after Philip's time, James Wickstead owned it before Paul and Susan Oserick. There was a house and barn there.
Oh.
Hmm.
There was a house and barn, and then someone bought more land, and
Well, the way I read it is the David Phillips place was just land that he bought in 1850. There was nothing on there.
mm-hmm.
And then he built stuff, and by the time it went to the Ossericks, there was a house and barn on it.
So where's the 1750 come in?
Don't know.
Yeah.
But is it, Sarah, was it exactly 1750?
That's, I'd have to pull up the assessor.
I can put it-
Yeah, it was on the assessor as 1750, but
Well, because so
I don't
one
know
of
if
the
it said
things,
exact or estimated or.
one of the things that, oh my God, now I'm blanking on his name. One of the things the assessor said is transcriptions happened a lot, like transcription errors.
Oh, yeah, so
Sure.
maybe they typed 17 when they meant 18.
Like
I was like, the 100-year jump is kind of, you know.
well, that's why I said, is it exactly?
That looks pretty old, but both of those are pretty old.
Let's just go with the property card, it'll be easier. Come on, seventh time in the century. Yeah, they have 1750 exactly. I don't know, to me, the fact that it's exactly 100 years,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're thinking a
It's
typo?
odd.
I'm thinking a typo.
Yeah.
Just because of the wording,
And there wasn't, the town, as we know, the town was pretty much founded up near where I live in the
And then-
1740s,
right.
1850s. They didn't really start building downtown until the mills went into work, which is the early 1800s.
With the exception of like, if you go up kind of near Davis Street and all the way up North Street, like those were really the,
Yeah, there were some early farms out
So
there.
I
Yeah.
think, you know, we can go down a bunch of rabbit holes with a lot
Right.
of their properties, but I think we just, like, you've got the notes column, we make a note there. I don't think we
Right.
take it out yet and make an assumption yet,
Right.
but we give the
all,
person we're hiring like a handful of these and say, you know, what do we put down for this one? And
yeah, like I said, based
An
on,
assessor had 1790 for the one right above it, and we had 1825,
okay,
there's
what-
gonna be a lot of those, and
right?
I don't have time to go into each
Yeah,
of them.
right.
Yeah.
The ones that haven't.
We'll be here a while if we do
Like I
that.
said, so once again, the assessor said quite a few things. First, if somebody replaced it, you're gonna get different dates. We found that on Bowen Court. Remember that one where the woman
Yes.
swore there was literally a corner left, and she's like, "No, my house was built here." Nope, your house burned down and it was rebuilt.
Yeah.
So there's going to be stuff like that. Not as much in Douglas, but you'll see it in other towns. When homes are moved, they've got differing dates because of the moving. So when we're looking at the older homes, we're going to find a lot of, I think,
Oh, we found a few.
So-
Half a dozen maybe.
what the assessor said is 5-year differences can easily be explained by different times that that people were when something went on the assessor versus when something didn't. Like I'm putting my addition on in 2023. It probably won't hit the assessor site till 2025. So you're going to have those in the differings, but anything more than 5 years, that's when you get into it could be a number of little.
Yeah.
And he said, unless there is actually something that is stamped somewhere in that house saying a year, it's very difficult to get an exact.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's just when we're a whole decade
circa,
off.
let's call it
Yeah.
I mean,
circa.
yeah,
That's how we cover that.
right, except when it's 100 years off. That's
Right.
Yeah.
more investigation.
Well, to me, that's why I'm saying that seems to me to be a
Typo.
transcription error, a typo. Although 7 and an 8 writing, I don't see how.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How they
and
can
also,
really-
I was confused because the one above it was 1790, and then this one is like, you know what I mean? Like it was two in a row that are
Yeah.
Yeah.
are jumping to the 1700s from the 1800s, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, is that like, do they know something we don't know, or like?
It could well be that the land itself, from when they were first purchased, may have had a date like that.
Oh,
And then finally, when they finally built something on the property, then it got updated to the new date.
Yeah, there are all kinds of wonk.
Again, we're talking about 250 years ago.
Yeah, we're talking wonky dating.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I'll clean up the list and we'll make sure like that the notes like are like I can highlight them or something to be like this one we are really confused
Complex,
on.
yeah.
And Dawn, you had one that you had highlighted. 22 Cook.
Oh, it's just because it was listed twice.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I ran into one or two like that on Gilboa, just because of the way they're laid out, the numbers are kind of odd.
Oh, the reason why is the stone garage. Cook Street has a stone
Oh,
garage
yeah,
attached to
the
it, and they're
garage.
both listed.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That,
So the garage would have been the 1914.
yep. Yeah, like it's that kind of crazy stuff. Like some of them, multiple buildings are listed because of. Yeah, the stone garage was nearby. Was built by the late Clemens S. Goodness.
Gotta keep that on. Mr. Goodness. Okay, so Becky, you'll clean up this form with a few of the things that we talked about
Yeah.
with other columns and notes. I guess we don't have to do the photo numbers just yet.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, David, you said the The ones I have that are on the system are 2008. You said you do have more recent photos,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
When you say more recent, what are we looking at?
2015, 16,
Okay, so we're still looking at,
but no, very, very few changes to any of those properties. I looked through the list. They're the same color, the same finish. There's like one or two on Main Street that are slightly different because they've had fresh paint.
yeah, and I know, like,
And we lost one down on Mechanic Street.
Yeah,
and I know that the Socia's, that building's been completely redone since I think you took the pictures. I think that's a more recent redo on the Socia's
I don't
building.
think I shot Socias. I shot some on that street.
Yeah, but cause they re-sided and I think, did they add a window? They might have added a window. That was one of the ones that I killed myself trying to trace back the history.
Yeah.
Because there was a divorce and it all went like this and it's like, okay, let's see where I can streamline it.
yeah,
So I'll take care of that. We'll wait on the pictures.
I've got like a whole bunch that I shot on Main Street. And I think some up on Depot. Maybe one or two over by Mechanic Gilboa area. I've still got that in my system.
Okay.
And they're, the sunny spring photos with good light, so they're.
oh, good.
Nice.
Cottage
What?
Street.
Yeah, what, I'm trying to remember, like, it's how we have to supply those, they want physical photos,
They
right?
want, if I recall.
Eventually, I'm doing it now.
Yeah, it's physical photos, but I think it's also, I think they want copies of physical photos so they can scan them nicely. But I think when we do a sheet, we can insert them in. Remember how,
The, yeah, that reference one and,
the Lennox, was it Lennox?
I think so.
That sounds right.
Oh, see. This one's gonna take a minute to download, but I think what it is we have to give them a stack of photos, but we also put them into a document as well.
All of them in a document, and
Yeah,
then just,
so-
yeah,
Go way down. Like they did this.
okay,
When it comes time for that, that's cake for me. I'll be able to do that
yeah,
relatively easily.
yeah,
It's just gonna be making sure that the photos are all the right size before I even start. Once they're all the right size, I pop them in real
Yeah.
quick.
yeah, and they've got like a caption there.
Yep.
Okay,
So I think they want them both ways.
okay,
But like I said, I think we need to get a hold of Ben and be like, this is where we are.
okay,
What do you
Okay,
think
okay.
our next steps should be?
okay,
If the next steps are a consultant, we run into a problem because the soonest I think we'd be able to get money is going to be this annual meeting in the spring.
yeah,
I don't think we get it in the fall. I don't think we even have enough time to do it for the fall meeting because we'd want to kind of have a presentation and have some
Explanations and stuff.
explanations. Probably some people that we'd be looking to hire.
yeah, yeah,
24.
So yeah, I think spring 2024 is our closest chance of getting money. We have 4,900, and I think Ben said
15,
minimum
right?
15.
yeah,
The more work we do, the less we need them to do, but still,
yeah, we could also do a sampling of the B forms since we have them, pick out our, like the junk store
Right.
and the library and,
it might be also good to highlight a couple of houses two.
Yeah,
And what we might wanna do is maybe pick like a house, maybe not from every decade, but like a grouping of decades, like 1800 to 1830, 1840 to 18, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pick out like the best of the best to show a variety of the houses that
Yeah.
we've got in
kind
town.
of like the two eras.
Or even if we don't do that, pick out samplings from the different styles, the best
Right.
of this style, the best of that style, or we do a mix of the two.
I think if we're trying to tell the story of a mill village, that we pick the ones that are, you know, when it started, you know, still the best examples, but,
Which
you
are
know,
often the mill houses,
yeah.
the mill owners' houses, the churches.
Okay, so we'll update the form, can you, or I can get it in the drive, right, that map? I can get it from the drive to
Yep.
share with Ben.
Yep.
'Cause think
I
that'd
had
be-
actually already sent it over to him.
Okay.
Are you talking the one that looks like a starfighter?
More the one that has like the colored dots on it.
Well, so if we're looking at the map, so we've got this
That one. Yeah.
but then we've also.
Yeah.
Those
That
are-
one he saw.
That's the streets, and he saw this one, which is the actual district
Okay.
outlined. I say it looks like a starfighter because of that.
Yeah,
like
those
that.
huge
That's
properties, yeah.
that's all I can see is
Yeah.
is a spaceship at that point. But he saw that one because I sent it to him. I said, "This is a really awkward shape,
Yeah.
like really awkward." He goes, "Nope, that's exactly what it."
What happens, yeah.
Because there's no, if we wanted to square this off, we're adding a bunch of non-contributing
Yeah.
properties
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And so he's like, nope, odd shapes to keep the number of properties down. So he did see that one. I don't know if you want to send him like all the different, we've got a bunch.
I think the one with the colors is great because it shows you
Yeah,
like
that's
our
a nice one.
eras.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of different maps in there that
Okay.
show a bunch of different items.
Okay. All right, so
I'll clean up the map. I'll clean up the worksheet. You talk to Ben to find out what next steps and see if the sample of the MHCB forms for like the highlighted properties,
yeah,
and maybe find out what he suggests for how many highlighted properties
yeah,
out
or
of
percentage, yeah.
out of technically 250 minus 22. Can't do math, but whatever that is.
Yeah.
As far as contributing
Well,
goes.
Okay. Because
We
the
have-
post World War II are still contributing.
Yep.
Okay.
Because you ended up having still quite a bit with the mills from that. Yeah, so 228 are what we have for contributing.
Yeah, so if we did 10%, it's like 20 something. Okay, so that takes care of that. So any threatened properties in town, I don't know, does anyone else have any info on it? 'Cause I don't know.
would probably say like, well, just know, from my neighborhood, 3G Street across from me, it's been vacant about 6 years and I think it just sold.
Oh,
I don't know, I haven't seen them doing anything
Which
on it.
street?
A Street, right across the street from me, number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was vacant for maybe
Okay.
6 or 7 years and it just sold. And I don't know what their plan is to do
Yeah.
with it because it is in rough shape. Like they've got tarps on the roof that are blowing off and
oh, wow.
it's like, it's not in good shape. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of, that 6 years, you know, definitely took its toll on it being
So
vacant.
it's, are they gonna try and flip it, or are they just gonna
That's
demo
what I'm
it?
not sure, yeah, so I
I
haven't.
wonder if we can tell by who bought it, like if it's
Yeah.
just an
I
individual.
can do
Right.
an assessment, take a look at this.
Sure, cause
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure. I have seen people there cleaning up the yard, but I haven't seen anyone do anything with the house itself, so.
Yeah,
And it's still vacant and I think, I wanna say they bought it like at least at least a few months ago before the summer started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there has been people there occasionally, but like I said, they're mostly doing the yard work, and I don't know if they're a hired person or if they're the owner
Yeah.
or, you know.
Yeah.
So,
So we have 3A Street, there's the fire department, the old schools,
yep.
And both the old schools,
and and that building that's next to the cemetery up where I am, which is not a antique building, it's a 1940s building, the one with the hole in the roof.
everything I've read has it in the the 1700s. Marsh, the
I
assessor,
know, but you look at the
everything.
building, it's not that. You can tell by looking at it, it's not an old building.
I saw those signs on it.
Yep, so the old school, the grammar school and the old school each have this one, which is vacant building,
Right.
and it's
I kept thinking scuba.
Huh?
The scuba sign.
Oh,
Or diving.
and it's one of those where it's to be very careful when going in, only if
Okay.
life type thing. The one next to the cemetery has this, where it is like basically keep out unless
out.
there is
Oh,
somebody
there's a
dying,
difference,
unless there is
yeah.
somebody in there.
Yeah.
This is a much. I was actually shocked. I was expecting to see this on the grammar school, but
Yeah.
it wasn't on the grammar school.
I didn't notice it on the grammar school. I saw it on the main street.
Yeah, the grammar school only has a 1/. The center school / VFW has a 1/.
They're both in good structural shape, that's the main difference, they're
Yeah.
not falling down.
Well, the problem with the grammar school is you've got no steps going in, like getting in and out of the building in itself is a hazard. I did also check the fire station, going based on old buildings owned by the town. Fire station had no signs on it.
Mm.
I don't know if there are any other buildings owned by the town that are in that type of condition that would have those types of signs.
Haven't seen
Yeah.
it,
Is that does anyone know where that came from? Is that a new thing?
No,
Ah,
it's been around for
haven't-
quite a while.
Haven't heard anything about them putting up those signs, so I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, it would be poking somebody with the fire department to find out
Right.
what what was the assessment to put them up, what was,
Mm-hmm.
I know, they're at least 25 years old,
what,
those signs.
no, the ones on the building are brand new.
You just
No,
think
I'm
it's
saying
been in existence.
Graphically, they've been
Oh.
around since,
Oh, yeah,
for a long,
We've been
longer
using
than
them since then, but.
yeah, but they just went up in town, and you
Right.
gotta wonder if something was, some type of some type of ordinance or something was put in place
Interesting.
Yeah.
that is like,
Like what prompted them to put them up?
Yeah.
the fact that they haven't had them up and say, hey, you need to have
Right.
signs on these
Yeah.
vacant buildings. Okay.
All right. So we want to move to new business.
Yeah.
I think you were talking about this, Sarah. About,
Oh, yes, okay, that was a neat topic. So I was just thinking about when you're at Soldiers Field, there's nothing to let you know that there was the exhibition game in
Yeah, and that's such a
1946.
big
And
thing.
I thought, where it's like kind of a big part of, Soldiers Field history, that maybe we should put like a commemorative sign, like something,
Yeah.
like just like a plaque, like
Sure.
wherever, so that when you're there and you're, playing a baseball game,
yeah.
the history of it. But
It would be nice to have something that's weather resistant that has photos.
Right,
Oh,
there's things that they put
yeah.
out at alternatives, they have these large plaques, you've seen them too,
Oh, yeah.
by the Carter office.
Soldier
which has
Field isn't on
images
this.
and tells the story of what happened.
Yeah.
So those are, and they're pretty weatherproof.
with photos would be awesome. That's a good idea.
well, or like when you go to the zoo and they've got the placards
yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They've
And
got-
I had, just in passing, asked the chairman of Recreation Commission if they, had any objection or any interest in having that, and they said they could put us on their agenda if,
Oh.
we wanted to
Sure.
present something to them, and,
Yeah.
we could discuss whether we wanted
Good.
to, I don't know whose budget would wanna,
Because we
Have
don't
the
have
sign.
a budget for that.
right,
But-
right.
But at the same
So
time,
if we wanted to share it, or,
that could be something that could easily be fundraised with like the Babe Ruth
Right,
Like, I bet you that very easily there could be some kind of fundraising thing. It might take a couple of years, but I bet you, like, I mean, of course, we're ending baseball season, so
Right.
it makes it tough, but like, I bet you if you started like spring, it could definitely become a fundraising thing to get that. I've got a lot of the 1946 celebration stuff, and there's quite a few. I've got some decent copies of the Loom Fixer where we've got some nice copies of the whole like overlook of the field
Oh, nice.
during like almost it wasn't a drone shot, but
Right,
however
like
they
an
did it
aerial shot,
however they
right?
did it back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Soldiers Field needs to be added to the form. It's not on here either.
No, we don't have a nice
is that
number.
a B form?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But it's not even
Oh,
on
it's not a building, 'cause it's a monument or whatever.
I think it's just I've got to look what it
I
up.
wonder what they would call a baseball field. You know?
But it's a park. It's basically a
Mm.
park type situation, but it's not even on the A form, and that should definitely be on there.
Mhm. Yeah, and this should be in a separate thing, but I did find some, if we wanted to see, this is for later, but if we wanted to see about signs for the people who have their homes on the National Register.
Right.
I sent some pricing, which I should have it with me, but I don't, but it was gonna be too much for us
It's,
to
oh, yeah,
fund
yeah,
it.
stupid
Right.
money.
But it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was stupid money, but it was, you got a lot for what you would put in, but we're not gonna have extra money
Right.
to
Right,
fund
right.
something like that, but we could, as a group, if we were to offer it and everybody puts their order in at once, then,
Something else. The current Douglas Center District, the one up by Dave and I, does not have an actual sign saying that it's on the National Register. The sign up there is for the Blackstone
Yeah,
Valley
the corridor
corridor.
walls, yeah.
Oh.
So
yeah,
that's
that should be part of it, that's a
that's
good point.
something else to take into consideration. Is that there is nothing up there stating that it is part of a National Register.
Yeah, I feel that's like, so important, it just gets people's attention and,
Right.
But they're driving by at 40 miles an hour.
I don't know, I'm the passenger usually, I can read those things.
Right.
But the thing is, a lot of people actually, like, when they're driving by, they're like, oh, that's a nice place to stop. The number of people that, like, pull up there
If
and...
they pull up on the common, yes. Maybe that's where the sign is near the, maybe near the monument.
But, I mean, I think the gazebo's got a pillar sign
Yeah.
with a plaque in
Yes.
it. If we did something like
Right.
that for a National Register, that could work, too.
Right.
I mean, it's going more costly than a little flag-type sign,
Yeah.
but...
Yeah, but yeah, because this one, it had like nice bronze plaques
Yeah.
that you see.
Oh yeah. Right. Those are
Yeah.
nice.
But that might be something like, if we get this one done, we do both of them.
Yeah, right, I agree, put them both, like, there's one that's a national, just a little, I can't get it bigger, but that's a National Register plaque.
Yeah. Like I said, but that, if we're talking about plaques, that, yeah, so
Yeah, do together.
Oh, yeah.
Soldiers Field, like I said, I think Soldiers Field would be a, looking for donations. And then hopefully 2 districts.
So the Recreation Commission, did they mention, they must have a budget, right? Did they?
They do. I don't know like how much extra they would have
Yeah.
to help with that, but we did I just kind of mentioned like maybe we could share the cost, or maybe we can just both do fundraising, or
Yeah, but if we,
'cause
but they,
I wouldn't want to put it all on them to
right. But yeah, what I'm thinking though, if we've got those people who are more involved, and they, I don't know, maybe they have a group emails or
Right,
something, and they're
right.
like, listen, we want to do this. This is how much
Yeah,
it's going to
okay.
cost. This is what it
Well
might
said.
look like.
right.
And
Yeah.
that way they can reach out. Not even, I think fundraising is a good idea. I think people would put a little bit of money in for that. And maybe there's
Yeah.
a certain, I don't know, it's selling raffle tickets or whatever it is.
also,
Yeah.
like,
Well, maybe we could
I
like
wouldn't be
meet with them and because I had just kind of seen the chairman in passing and
Yeah.
asked him if they
I-
might be interested. So
if we
Yeah,
get a
but-
meeting with them, I can also see what I could pull for different like photos
Yeah.
and information that we could use to like create
Display it.
displays.
And just
Yeah.
get it like a rough ballpark number, like we need 1,000, we need 50.
Yeah, right, if we have.
Neon
something-
sign with an arrow.
Right,
So,
that
yeah.
might not pass the sign bylaw.
So Sarah, can you just ask when they're, see if you
Sure,
can get
yeah, I
on
can see
their
if we can get on
agenda,
their
and
agenda,
we might not be
sure.
the next meeting, but whatever,
Right.
find out when the next few are.
And also, I mean, the Soldiers Field has an interesting history too. Because
Yeah.
originally it was just basically a empty field that the Schusters started playing on. They bought it, they turned it into a ball field, and it was Schuster's Field. 46, they dedicated the field to the soldiers at the Welcome Home, and in 83, I believe they signed it over to the town.
Okay.
They actually they owned it for up until the 80s, I believe it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was for the town to use, and then in the 80s the town took it over.
Right.
Yeah. And then the Historical Society, of course, has some photos and different stuff there, so we could get info from them too if we need photos.
Right. Yeah, I'll reach out, to them and see like what their next meeting dates are.
Yeah.
How long would you need to like pull something together? Well, I can.
I would just get
I'll
the
find
next
out the
few,
next couple
like if
meetings.
this one tomorrow, next
Honestly,
week.
if I
Right.
need to,
I don't know how often they meet either, so. it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know if.
if I need to, I can usually pull stuff together in a day and a
Okay,
half.
alright.
It may not be like clean cut. It's all.
Right.
It would be rough, but.
Animated.
And the thing is, it's baseball,
Visual
so I
standard.
already have the interest. I already kind of
Yeah.
have the information
Right.
because
Good.
I love baseball. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll reach out to them and
Perfect.
find out, what their
Good.
schedule looks like.
All right, so the other thing was just what we talked about in the beginning
Yep.
was Mary
Mary
Brainy, the
Brainy.
consultant working on the renovation. So as Justin, just for the record, we'll probably have something from her in September. We'll have more info, and then the library trustees, we'll kind of know which way we're going with that by the next couple months. If we want to go for a grant there or not, and see how it might affect things. So,
I said, to me, the big thing was just everybody. The two entities need to be aware of what each other is doing
yeah,
and what kind of impacts it could have.
yeah,
We're not thinking it's going to be much, but every time you think something's not going to happen, there's always that wrench that gets
Right.
thrown in that is like, oh. If we were going local, it'd be a lot different, but because we're going national, we don't have as many rules and regulations to be abided by.
right. Okay. All right, and then the last one, seeking new
New members.
members. David's thinking about stepping down. My goodness.
Yes, only been on it since
Oh,
1989.
come on. We can do
What's
another
a few more
30 years.
You don't want to see this project through?
Well, I'm going to be retiring sometime in the next 8-10 months, according to my wife.
Wow.
And then I can actually start to collect Social Security.
But I thought that's when you did these kind of projects.
But I could, again, I have no lack of hobbies and other things that I pursue.
Right.
But yes, I may well stay on board. I'm just saying, it's just, if I'm retiring from work, then it's gonna change how my daily structure goes.
Right.
I'm up every morning at 4 a.m. and out of the house by 6.
Wow.
And how do we go about seeking new members? Do we post that on the Douglas site?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking through cable, right? We
Right.
could
Yeah.
post it there.
Yeah, I could ask them to put a slide up.
Right.
How many members are we allowed to have?
I
I
don't
think
know.
7, I think. It just has to be odd number for voting.
Oh, and I
An
think
odd
you
number.
guys might have seen the email from Betsy. So she doesn't
Oh.
want to step down completely, but it's a little busy
Oh, I
for
didn't
her.
see the email.
I didn't see the
Maybe
email.
she sends the email just to one person. I thought I'd pass it along, but I apologize
Oh,
if I didn't.
okay.
So she doesn't want to leave. She's not leaving, but I forget how long she said, but she's tied up for the next several months, basically, and then she doesn't want to step down completely.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we've got a couple of people that were in and out over the past 10 years and they just whoosh,
yeah.
Yeah.
disappeared.
Well, I'm good for another 2.
Yeah. Same with you,
And-
Sarah?
I don't know
just-
what mine.
I just got reinstated, so I'm
Right.
good till 2026.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh,
what
is it
mine
3 years then?
3, yep.
Oh, then I'm good for another 3.
All right.
I'm good for some. I just
Guys.
I just I just redid it, so I'm
So,
good.
I don't know, like, you know, sometimes we can reach out to people that we know too, that we think that might be a good fit.
Mhm.
But, so I don't know how much just the cable thing is gonna, but I
Right.
can post
You could
something on
post on
Dynamic
Facebook.
Douglas,
We're dynamic,
yeah.
exactly, we're dynamic Douglas, yeah.
Try the Facebook, try cable.
Yeah, cable. They must have they always talk about it at the town meetings too, like
Yeah,
on
they
the
usually have a
list.
slides, for the end of town meeting for things that have openings, so.
Right.
And like I said, there is a fall meeting coming up. I don't think it's time for us to present anything like money
Right, no,
wise,
but to get on the list.
to get on the list
Who-
would.
I know Keith is one who usually says it, but there's probably someone else in the,
I would
I'm
I would
not
start
sure,
with
but yeah, maybe reach out to Keith and
I
I'm
was
sure
gonna
he
say-
can send you in the right direction if he's not the
who
Right.
who replaced Suzanne?
Lisa Freeman?
Lisa.
Lisa might be also because
okay, I'll ask her.
town meetings run by selectmen.
Right, right.
So and she runs the selectmen.
Yeah.
She takes care of them. So
Okay.
I mean, outside of like getting this back up and running, the one thing about us is we're not hugely time consuming.
Right, that's the
Getting
that's the biggest thing.
no, getting this done. This was we
Somewhat.
made a push to get this
Yes.
done, but overall, we're not a hugely time consuming.
Yeah, I know, I would say it's like, what's our minimum? It's like 3 or 4 meetings,
Right,
right,
a
once a
year.
quarter, so we're no more than 6 meetings, I'd
Yeah,
say,
and I mean, we pushed for more meetings because
because of
we
the
were trying
project.
to like be where we are on this.
Yeah,
But I mean, I don't think like I said, it's a positive. We're not overly time consuming.
Right, we don't have a super heavy scheduled meeting, so.
yeah, so.
It's a smaller time commitment, people.
Yeah, still get that check
We'll
mark.
emphasize, we'll
Can still
emphasize
get
that.
invited to the meeting. What was that thing they did when they had all the food for us from the town?
Oh, right.
I wasn't even able
I
to
didn't
make it.
make
I think I was.
that.
I think I was working.
I know it's only one and
wasn't
then
either. We
COVID.
missed
It
it.
was fun though.
Oh, we certainly didn't help. Does anyone want
I
to?
always miss that.
No, this just came in fairly recently. And you say register,
Oh.
go on, if someone wants it, they can take it.
Take it.
I'll,
to-
I can keep it with in the
40 copies.
archive,
Yep.
and it works out nice because we've been meeting here. So if we ever need to grab it, I'm
Yep.
able to.
Right, good, thank you.
I do like meeting here. It's nice to just be like, oh wait, let me go run and
Yeah,
get
well,
that.
I like the visual aids too. They look so good, so.
So I think at this point we're kind of at a standstill until we hear from Ben on what we
Yeah,
and what
it's
we
usually pretty active.
and what we think we should do next. I don't know if we want to wait till if we want to try and get one more in at the end of the year, or if we wait until
Oh, for our next meeting?
yeah.
Put it on this, yeah.
I know, should we just pick a date now and then we know? What's like, I don't know, October, November?
I'm going in for surgery
Oh, yeah,
Um,
for your eyes.
end of October, no, my eyes, my hernia.
Oh, jeez. Are you
oh.
seeing okay these days though?
Yes, I'm seeing okay. But I still need to get new glasses, I just haven't gotten new glasses yet. But I'm gonna be out of commission October 30th through November 14th,
Okay.
2 weeks. I said, we don't want you to do anything.
Wow.
Not
That's
working,
nice.
not mowing the lawn,
You
not
can
playing,
read.
playing the drums.
The week after you're back is Thanksgiving week.
Right.
Thanksgiving is a week early, not a week early, but
Falls early.
So after that,
Yeah.
right after that.
falls early this year.
So, the week of the 27th of November, does that sound like a good time frame?
Yep.
I have one doctor's appointment, but.
I have nothing scheduled for that week that I can see as of yet.
Like I said, Thursdays are usually good for me, that's usually the day I'm off.
Thursday is good
Thursday.
for me too, that's also my day.
I mean, I think coming in here like this, I think works well. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, it's fine.
Do we wanna, so it's a Thursday at 9 this time, right? So do you wanna do
Yeah.
the Thursday the 30th at 9?
Sure, that works for me.
Then we can kind of see where we're at going into the new year.
Right.
Excellent.
Okay,
So Thursday the 30th.
yeah, but I'll send you an invite.
Yep.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Okay,
Oh, and you'll be out by 10:30, that's just about how it's working out.
okay, good. Go minutes.
You're like, and on to my
Next,
next.
I have a lot of colors today.
Oh.
Also, let me start the adjourning time, 10:20.
Meeting adjourned
My
at
August
10:20.
is killing me.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that looks like fun. I do it
My
by
August
day.
is absolutely killing me.